Philippines culture shock on the first visit. I remember my first trip to the Philippines in the 1990s, and the special Philippines culture shock that I experienced. I look back now and I'm amazed at my naivety. I had travelled in the East before in the 1980s, but I was definitely out of practice at that point. However, I should have had some idea, but no, I didn't. I'd seen the various photos on the web that exist of towns and places in the Philippines, but minus the noise, the smells, the high-speed chaos, the 2D photo gives a very unclear picture. And yet there I was, arrived on my first Air Nauru flight, which used to do a milk run flight with multiple stops that was fairly cheap, and arrived at the open doors at the NAIA airport in Manila. I had a connecting flight to Tacloban and Leyte later on that day at the domestic terminal to whisk me away to meet a very wrong woman. I wasn't prepared for anything at all in hindsight. Not the country, not the people. This was before Perry Gamsby had first put pen to paper, so I knew nothing other than a bit of dating website nonsense about what a perfect wife every Filipina girl was. Note right now that this is not dating advice. At Down Under Visa we keep right out of that. You come to us for help with your visa when you have a relationship already. This is just meant to make your existing relationship and the start of the Australian visa process a bit easier. The Philippines, a third world country. I think the trendy new term is developing nation, but I think this term works a little better. The point is that you will not be arriving into somewhere like Hawaii full of shorter, slightly darker Aussie girls. If you do, well then, that's what you think. Well, think again. If you're not expecting differences, then you are in for some culture shock. That's how it hit me, I can tell you. The crowds, the noise, the heat, the smells, and that was just at the Manila airport. Look, it's not a rich country, and therein lies the issue, as well as the contrast between where you are, no doubt, used to. Less money means less efficient infrastructure. There are cars on the road which belch smoke, roads, footpaths, street wiring, etc. It's all often in dire need of repair. The cities are crowded, particularly Manila, with those who need to earn some money, and what it means is that there are plenty also who will see you as a target for getting rich. That could mean taxi drivers, beggars and street kids, shop people, and even the intended love of your life if you weren't very careful and if you gave your heart and your trust too easily. So you will be in a place which is obviously not home, surrounded by huge contrasts. You will not just blend in like you do back in Australia, and you will be a target for some people. And at the same time, you need to figure out if this girl is truly the soulmate you've been looking for. Should you marry and apply for a visa on the first trip? I wouldn't mind $1 for every time I've been asked that one. The Down Under Visa is not our job to tell people what to do, even if it may seem like that sometimes. We make suggestions, but in the end it's up to you as to what you want to do. If you wish to arrive in the Philippines to meet your Filipina lady for the first time, marry her, and then start a visa application, then we will help you. However, if you would like some helpful advice, it's too much to handle on a first trip. Unless you are a very experienced traveller and a highly adaptable person, chances are you will be in sensory overload and really not up to something so momentous. Dealing with the heat, noise, crowds, smells, and the general shock of the unknown, then meeting your new in-laws who may well be living a lifestyle that's very, very different to your own, and trying to get used to somebody on a daily basis in the flesh that you've only known via a computer before, and then organising a Filipino wedding. Out of respect for those who've done this, I won't actually say crazy, but let's say it's not something I would generally recommend. First trip to the Philippines. This is Jeff's best advice. Firstly, get as long of a stay as you can spare. Look, if you can only get a week off to do this, well then, so be it. But if you can push for a bit more, please do. It's a lot to take in, and if you really want, to leave when you've truly taken it all in. 3 days in a hotel room really won't do it. Remember, the primary reason for being here is to be with your Filipina fiancee or girlfriend. You're not here to be a mega tourist and see every recommended tourist site that you can possibly find. And it means that whilst it is good to meet her family, it's still about you and her. Filipino families can sometimes not quite get that it's not just another day for you and her. And unless you really want to spend your days with absolutely no privacy and watching your Filipina lady wash clothes, go to the market, etc. for most of the day, you really should plan to spend plenty of time, not just a little bit of time, but plenty of time elsewhere. Try and find quiet places to visit and to stay. Don't just spend every day in a different shopping mall. Look, if noise, crowds, strange food, lack of privacy, if it's all okay with you, then go with the flow. But if it's getting to you and making you tense and disoriented and you just can't think, then take yourselves away from the things that are freaking you out until you can get used to them. But the important thing is to have quality time together. And the above applies to weddings too. If you feel clear-headed enough to get married on the first trip, well then, go for it. But if not, don't. It's the biggest decision you'll ever make. And very importantly, don't ever have that can't go home empty-handed mentality. When it comes to marriage, you are entitled to be completely selfish. Don't do it unless you're 100% sure, and it is perfectly okay to delay the decision, and certainly the wedding, for another visit if you need to. Then this does not make you a bad person. Okay, so good luck, and we look forward to helping you with a partner visa from Philippines to Australia when you are ready. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please go to the www.downundervisa.com.au site, and you can subscribe to the blog. And go to the blog page, you can subscribe, you'll get articles sent to you every week. And if you can please share this article on the blog, on social media, any of the social media you use, and the video as well, if you can share that, if you can like that, do all of those things, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.